Welcome to Rare Breed Brothershood. If you've ever known a Sigma male who thrives in his own company, you know he's a force to be reckoned with. Solitude isn't a weakness for him, it's his strength. He doesn't need a crowd to feel alive, validated, or accomplished. In fact, the more time he spends alone, the sharper and more focused he becomes. This kind of man builds a fortress within himself, becoming mentally unshakable, incredibly self-aware, and capable of seeing through people's motives with razor-sharp clarity. For a Sigma male, time alone is more than a preference. It's where he fine-tunes his skills, gathers his thoughts, and strengthens his resolve. In a world that pressures everyone to fit in, his choice to stand apart allows him to see things differently, spot patterns others miss, and approach life with a unique perspective. When he's out of the social grind, he's not wasting time. He's growing sharper, more independent, and more powerful in ways that aren't always obvious until it's too late. If you're a Sigma female reading this, let this be your reminder. Your solitude is also your power. When the world makes you feel different for standing alone, remember that's where your strength lies. You're not missing out. You're building something within yourself that few people have the courage or patience to develop. Embrace that independence and trust that your path, though less traveled, is uniquely yours. Let's get started, brothers, and don't forget to let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Number 1, developing an unbreakable will. When a Sigma male spends time alone, he doesn't just get comfortable with himself, he becomes practically unbreakable. Solitude is like a gym for his mind. Every hour spent alone is another rep for his mental toughness. While other people are bending over backward to fit in or worrying about what others think, he's learning to stand firm no matter who tries to sway him. He gets immune to peer pressure because, frankly, he's not even tuned into it. This is a guy who isn't here to please the crowd, and he's definitely not looking for anyone's approval. When society tries to tell him how he should think, dress, or act, he just shrugs and keeps walking. The time he's spent in solitude has strengthened his resolve to a point where he knows exactly who he is, what he wants, and what he doesn't. He's built his values from scratch. And good luck to anyone who tries to shake them. And manipulation, forget it. You can try to guilt him, charm him, or pressure him. It all bounces right off. He's trained himself to spot mind games from a mile away. The result is someone who's almost impossible to control, not because he's defiant, but because he's self-reliant. He won't bend for anyone, and people who try to manipulate him end up frustrated because he sees right through it. This unbreakable will makes him not just dangerous, but downright intimidating to anyone hoping to pull his strings. Number 2, turning knowledge into power. When a Sigma male spends time alone, he's not just chilling or mindlessly scrolling. He's turning isolation into a power-up. This guy treats solitude like a free pass to learn whatever he wants, deep dive into anything that catches his interest, and become the kind of sharp thinker who can throw people off balance with just a few words. His idea of relaxing might be dissecting complex subjects, understanding human psychology, or even learning a new skill just because he can. By the time he's back in a room full of people, he's armed with knowledge that gives him a serious edge. Imagine trying to debate or even manipulate someone like that. It's like stepping into the ring with a fighter who's been training for a fight you didn't even know you were in. He doesn't just know things. He's turned what he knows into intellectual muscle. This kind of guy has a way of making people second-guess themselves with a simple question or a well-placed fact. In arguments, he doesn't need to get loud or emotional. He'll just lay out logic so precise that it cuts through the noise. People find it unsettling because he knows more than they expect, sees through weak points instantly, and delivers his insights with calm confidence. That's what makes him so dangerous. He's not just informed, he's intensely, quietly powerful, the type of person who can turn any conversation or conflict into a one-sided game of chess. And number 3, building inner resilience. When a Sigma male spends time alone, he's doing more than just enjoying peace and quiet. He's building a mental armor that makes him incredibly resilient. In solitude, he learns to rely on himself for support, confidence, and motivation. Without anyone else to lean on or blame, he becomes his own rock, his own guide, and let's be honest, his own toughest critic. This self-reliance toughens him up in a way that few people understand because he's had the time and space to confront his fears and doubts head on. So when life throws him a curveball, he's not easily rattled. He's been through enough inner battles to know he can handle whatever comes his way. While others might panic, crumble, or go looking for reassurance, he stays grounded, steady, and focused. In fact, adversity only fuels him. He's more likely to use setbacks as a chance to strengthen his resolve rather than let them break him. This level of resilience makes him appear unshakable, even intimidating. People might wonder how he manages to keep his cool when things are falling apart. But for him, it's just another day. He's built his strength from the inside out, and that unyielding mental fortitude sets him apart. It's this quality that makes him dangerous, not because he's aggressive or confrontational, but because no challenge or hardship can break him. He's a fortress unto himself, and few things are as powerful as someone who's completely self-sustaining. Number 4, gaining the patience of a hunter. A Sigma male who spends a lot of time alone has a secret weapon, patience. Not the kind where he's just chilling and waiting for things to happen. No, his patience is more like that of a hunter in the wild, watching, waiting, and picking his moment to strike. He's not rushing around making decisions on a whim. He's sitting back, observing and gathering the perfect intel. When everyone else is freaking out or trying to jump in, he's the one who knows how to hold back and wait for the right moment. What makes this so dangerous is that most people mistake his stillness for inactivity. They assume he's not doing anything because he's quiet or calm, but in reality, he's just letting the world play out until the perfect opportunity presents itself. By the time you realize he's made his move, it's too late. He's already 5 steps ahead while you're still figuring out what happened. This ability to be patient and strategic makes him nearly impossible to outmaneuver. He's not in a rush to impress anyone or make hasty decisions. He knows that waiting can sometimes be the most powerful move. He might let you think you have the upper hand, only to calmly and quietly turn the tables when you least expect it. So if you find yourself dealing with a Sigma male who's taking his time, remember this: he's not slow, he's just waiting for the right moment to remind you why you should have never underestimated him. Number 5, mapping out alternative paths. A Sigma male who spends time alone isn't just sitting around waiting for life to happen. No, he's busy mapping out his own unique route to his goals. And he's doing it with a level of creativity that most people overlook. Without distractions pulling him in a dozen different directions, he's free to think outside the box and piece together ideas that most would never even consider. While others might take the beaten path, he's charting his own unpredictable course, which makes him a real wild card in any situation. When this guy sets his mind on something, he doesn't rely on standard methods or safe choices. He's the type to sidestep the typical ladder climbing approach and come up with his own way up the mountain. This makes him incredibly hard to predict because he's not following anyone else's rule book. He'll bypass conventional wisdom and skip over standard practices in favor of innovative solutions that catch everyone by surprise. This unpredictability is what makes him so dangerous. Competitors and rivals are usually left scrambling to keep up, completely thrown off by his unconventional methods. He doesn't telegraph his moves or give hints about his next steps, so by the time anyone realizes what he's up to, he's already 5 steps ahead. In a world that rewards creativity and adaptability, his ability to see alternative paths and act on them gives him a serious edge. It's this strategic independence that makes him as formidable as he is fascinating. Number 6, silence into a weapon. A Sigma male who spends a lot of time alone learns to turn silence into a powerful weapon. When he finally speaks, people listen, not because he's the loudest, but because he's mastered the art of saying just enough. There's no endless chatter or filler with him. Every word is deliberate, carrying a weight that catches others off guard. He's not out to win over the room or dominate a conversation. Instead, he holds back, choosing his moments carefully, which only adds to his mystique. And then there's his silence itself. While others rush to fill every pause, he lets it linger, knowing it makes people uncomfortable. This silence isn't accidental, it's a calculated move. It gives people space to wonder, to overthink, to even question their own words. For anyone trying to confront him or decode him, his silence can feel like an impenetrable wall, frustrating, intimidating, and strangely powerful. What makes this so dangerous is that most people underestimate the effect. They mistake silence for passivity, thinking he's just not engaging, when in reality he's controlling the entire mood of the conversation. He's letting others stumble over their words, exposing their insecurities while he remains calm and observant. By the time he finally speaks, his words hit twice as hard. So if you ever find yourself up against a Sigma male's silence, know this: he's not ignoring you. He's just choosing the exact moment to make his presence and his point unmistakable. Number 7, refining his sense of purpose. When a Sigma male spends time alone, it's not just about escaping the noise of the world. He's refining his sense of purpose, digging deep into what really matters to him. Think of it like upgrading his internal GPS. He's not just wandering aimlessly. He's pinpointing his values, his goals, and his mission with laser-like focus. He doesn't need distractions or approval. He's clear on where he's headed, and nothing or no one can sway him from that path. This single-mindedness makes him incredibly dangerous. While other people are still figuring out what they want or getting distracted by every shiny new idea, he's already 10 steps ahead, working steadily toward his goal. He's not the type to chase fleeting trends or waste time on things that don't align with his vision. If you're not contributing to his purpose, you're just background noise, and he won't hesitate to tune you out. This clarity can make him almost ruthless when it comes to protecting his mission. If something or someone stands in his way, he's not likely to hesitate. His sense of purpose gives him an unstoppable drive, and that can be intimidating to anyone who's not clear on their own path. He's like a force of nature, moving forward with relentless determination, and the closer you get to his objectives, the more likely you are to find yourself on the wrong side of his resolve. When he knows exactly what he wants, nothing is going to stand in his way. And number 8, becoming hyper-aware of his surroundings. When a Sigma male spends time alone, it's not just quiet time, it's a chance for his senses to sharpen like a blade. Without the constant chatter of social dynamics, he's tuned in to every tiny detail around him. He's the type to notice the subtle things others miss. A slight change in someone's tone, a look that lasts a fraction too long, or the tiniest inconsistency in a story. Basically, he's like Sherlock Holmes, minus the need for a magnifying glass or the British accent. This hyper-awareness makes him almost impossible to deceive. If someone tries to lie, manipulate, or play games, he'll catch on before they even finish their sentence. He sees straight through pretenses, detecting motives and intentions that others don't even realize they're giving away. It's as if he's reading a whole separate script that most people are too distracted to notice. What makes this even more intimidating is that he doesn't announce it. He's not sitting there calling out every suspicious move or making a show of his observations. No, he just stores it all away, keeping track and preparing to act when it suits him best. To most, he seems calm, maybe even a little detached, but inside, he's always alert. This vigilance, paired with his knack for reading people, makes him a tough opponent in any situation. Try to deceive him, and you'll quickly find out he's already 2 steps ahead, watching as your own moves unravel in front of you. Number 9, perfecting his analytical abilities. When a Sigma male spends time alone, he doesn't just sit around daydreaming, he's perfecting his analytical skills to a degree that can be frankly intimidating. Solitude gives him the time and space to dissect his thoughts, actions, and experiences with zero outside noise. Without anyone else's opinions clouding his view, he can break down situations, figure out what drives people, and spot patterns that most overlook. He's basically a human algorithm, observing, calculating, and understanding what makes people tick. This level of analysis makes him a force in any situation that requires strategy or negotiation. Say he's in a meeting or a debate while others are trying to keep up with the conversation. He's already 5 steps ahead, seeing not just what's being said, but why it's being said. He can break down motives and intentions in real time, seeing through people's actions like he's reading a playbook. And the kicker, he doesn't need to flaunt this ability. He's not out there dropping hints about how perceptive he is or showing off his mental chess moves. Instead, he simply listens, assesses, and quietly maps out his strategy while everyone else is still figuring out the basics. So when he finally makes a move, it's with the confidence of someone who already knows every possible outcome. People might walk into a negotiation thinking they're dealing with an average opponent, but soon realize they're up against someone who's already seen and dismantled their entire game plan. Number 10, learns to view fear as a challenge to unpack, not an obstacle. When a Sigma male spends time alone, he doesn't just avoid fear, he practically invites it over, sits it down and asks it a million questions. Instead of seeing fear as something to avoid, he views it as a challenge he can break down, dissect, and analyze. Fear becomes something to unpack, not a wall to run away from. It's like he's decided to turn fear into his own personal puzzle. And each time he faces it, he's figuring out a new way to outsmart it. This mindset makes him genuinely dangerous to anyone hoping he'll back down when things get tough. He's not someone who panics under pressure or is easily shaken. If anything, the presence of fear just gives him more curiosity and a kind of quiet thrill. He'll dig into what makes him nervous, understand it inside and out, and by the time he's done, he's stripped fear of all its power. And this isn't something he announces or makes a big deal out of. There's no grand declaration about conquering his fears. No, he's simply facing down his anxieties while everyone else is busy avoiding theirs. This makes him incredibly resilient and oddly intimidating. People may try to rattle him or throw him off balance, but all they're really doing is adding more fuel to his fire. He'll take that fear, analyze it, and come back even stronger, leaving his challengers wondering why they ever thought he'd be the one to fold under pressure. Number 11, capable of blurring the line between being there and being distant. A Sigma male who spends a lot of time alone has perfected a mysterious little trick. He can be in the room without really being in the room. It's as if he's there, but his mind is somewhere else entirely, observing, analyzing, and thinking, always thinking. People talk to him, thinking he's fully engaged, only to realize later that he's given them just enough attention to seem polite, while keeping most of himself hidden away. This ability to be both present and distant is what makes him so dangerous. He can draw people in without ever showing his cards, leaving them guessing and slightly off balance. It's like playing a game where you can't quite tell if the other player is fully committed or just entertaining themselves at your expense. This keeps people curious but also wary, never quite knowing how much of himself he's actually sharing or withholding. And here's the thing, he uses this skill with purpose. If he senses someone trying to control or manipulate him, he'll turn on that here but not here mode, leaving them feeling like they're trying to hold on to smoke. This detachment isn't accidental. It's his way of maintaining control, keeping his intentions private, and making sure nobody can latch onto his thoughts or emotions too easily. People end up playing a guessing game, never quite sure where they stand with him, and that ambiguity is what gives him an edge that few can handle. Number 12, creates inner worlds that others can't access. A Sigma male who spends a lot of time alone becomes a master architect of his own inner worlds, building mental landscapes richer and more complex than most people's day-to-day lives. While others might spend time watching the latest show or scrolling endlessly, he's busy exploring ideas, questions, and what-ifs that would make most people's heads spin. He might look calm and collected on the outside, but inside, he's living in a world only he understands, a place where his imagination and insights roam free without limits. What makes him dangerous is that no one else can enter these worlds. While everyone else tries to connect with him or figure him out, he's already 10 steps ahead, filtering what he shares and what stays locked away. He's got layers, each one more complex than the last, and he's not exactly handing out maps. Try to decode him, and you'll find yourself more confused than before, as if he's created his own rules of engagement that nobody else knows. This separation gives him a unique edge. People who interact with him might feel like they're getting close, but in reality, they're only seeing the surface. He's learned how to compartmentalize, keeping his private thoughts completely out of reach. It's like he's living in a private fortress, secure and impenetrable, where only he holds the key. To those on the outside, he seems unfathomable, making him a bit of an enigma, and a force you'd do well not to underestimate. Dear brothers, if you've enjoyed this deep dive into Sigma males, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Tap the bell icon to stay updated on our latest videos, and join the conversation by sharing your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for tuning in. Remain blessed.